Good afternoon. We are going to present evidence one. My name is Gerardo Roberto Flores Mijares.
And I am Magda Sofia Treviño González. To start off, I want to talk about Silvio Berlusconi. Silvio Berlusconi was one of the most famous and iconic politicians in Italy because he was one of the largest, of the long-lasting members of the political party Forza Italia, which was his own political party, and he was prime minister for 8 years. He was a businessman, mostly in entertainment. He owned three of the largest TV companies in all of Italy, and therefore he controlled the media. So what was he accused of? Why was he a controversial figure, and why are we making a report about him? He was firstly accused of tax evasion when he was found guilty. He was found guilty and later convicted of buying TV rights abroad in order not to pay taxes to the Italian government in order to keep more money for himself. He was also accused of abuse of power, corruption, and bribery when he gave a 3 million euro bribe to an opposing political figure in order for him to change parties and join his party, Forza Italia. He was also charged and accused of soliciting a minor, as like a sex worker who was a minor at the time, in multiple occasions, and using his power in office to keep it a secret and be able to do it in multiple occasions. He also breached confidentiality via wiretapping, and in his trial of underage or prostitution soliciting, he was also accused of witness intimidation.
It will also be safe to assume that these aren't like all the things Silvio Berlusconi did, because these were the charges that were on court. There will be a lot of other things that are kept secret. Also, in the theme of soliciting
Soliciting.
soliciting a minor, Silvio Berlusconi also used his influence peddling at the time to get uh, this woman out of a conviction because she was caught stealing on a shop.
I deem Silvio Berlusconi of being a corrupt politician because of Joseph Nye's definition. He said that corruption is the behavior which deviates from formal duties of a public role because of private regarding pecuniary or status gains, or violates the rules against the exercise of certain type of private regarding influence. I believe that, as I've mentioned before, his actions regarding bribing other opposing both candidates and regular people who were already hired show that he was willing to move or shift influences by bribing in order to get his way in Congress. I also think that the way that he changed the law so that people over 65 could only get community service for their crimes, knowing well that he was over 65 and had a criminal record that was waiting to catch up to him, proves that he was able to use his public role and his power in order to not be as affected by the law and the consequences of his own actions. Lastly, I want to talk about criminology and why I think that Silvio Berlusconi could have been involved in corruption in the first place. To start off, I want to make a point that he developed all his skills in the entertainment industry, and the entertainment industry has been known for a lot of amounts of sextortion, and there are a bunch of crimes that go under the radar, like rape and hard drugs as well. And I believe that the fact that he saw that most of his peers, if not all, never made it to court or never got convicted of anything, made him feel like he was immune to the law and the consequences of his own actions. I feel that the reason that he wanted to commit said crime was purely because of illicit enrichment and because he wanted to keep up his bougie lifestyle with a bunch of luxuries and expensive parties in which only high-ranking people were invited. And the effects of the crime mostly are incredibly negative. He not only supported pimps and the degrading industry that they manage, but he also changed the laws and regulations in his own country, as I mentioned before, in order to make him not lose everything. So the only conviction that he got was working in a retirement home, and he was accused of very, very severe crimes. And lastly, he influenced others to do what he wanted. He had the media, he had people on the inside and on the outside, and he managed to do everything without repercussions.
We could see also Berlusconi's actions with the lens of game theory. In this case, we made a little concept or a little graph that shows the outcomes of Berlusconi and an opponent of Berlusconi if they choose to be corrupt or if they choose to be honest. In this case, we can see that they get the best outcome in these hypothetical units that represent their money gain if both of them are corrupt in this case, because we assume that if both of them are corrupt, they can enable each other to be corrupt in this case because they wouldn't have the fear of an honest opponent or the opponent or have the fear of an hypothetical honest Berlusconi to rat them out to anti-corruption agency or to world court like the United States. In this case, the best outcome of both of them being corrupt is the Nash equilibrium. So we can understand, at least in a purely economical manner, why Berlusconi chose to be corrupt because he was surrounded of corrupt politicians. Next, we can see Berlusconi's actions through a philosophical lens. In this case, we can see his actions through Calicles' opinion or Calicles' philosophy that he states that the law of nature is like authentic and the strong should exercise domain over the weak and that laws are made for the weak to defend their own interest. So they, because they cannot protect themselves from the strong. In this case, Berlusconi's actions, assessed with this point of view, can lead us to think that they are correct in some way because he was an strong and well a strong economically strong person because he was a media mogul. So he will be in his right to be like this corrupt or this immoral person that he embodies in the real world because he was a strong person. And these laws of anti-corruption are made from the weak that in this case were like the people that elect him. However, it will be right to say that Socrates, that is in the same dialogue as Callicles, sees Callicles' point of view mm, wrong or wrongly, because he says that Callicles tries to copy nature in a wrongful way because he tries to copy the nature of a predatory animal instead of the whole cosmos uh, that has an order and is righteous and is virtuous. So he gets this wrong, and Socrates says that, well, he doesn't have the truth. And that's all.
And lastly, there are references. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.